And hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. Absolutely WSL and Women's Championship. It's all about women's football today. I'm your host, Sam. I thought I'd say that because I've never actually introduced myself as a host on the podcast, and thought for people on audio, they don't know who I am. So why not? That's probably a sensible start. I'm Sam. I'm hosting tonight. Very excited to be here with the team. We've got a very exciting night because there is live Conti Cup action as we go. So if you're watching us on the video, do not worry. Don't worry. We have our pundits here ready. They're following the games, and we have a ticker with the scores to let you know what's going on. But we will go around the team and I'll find out. They can tell us what's going on. But I'm not here alone. I've brought some friends with me to talk about the football. We've got plenty to talk about tonight. So I'm going straight to my left and going to Rebecca. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, excited to be back on.
Yes, we haven't seen you for a few weeks, so excellent. We're on. Have you had a good week? How's it been going?
It's been going all right. Busy with uni, but back in tomorrow.
Busy times, exactly. It never ends. It never ends. There's always plenty to do. And of course, it's not just Rebecca who's with us. We have Freya is with us as well, who's a slight more happier than she was 2 minutes ago, just before we started.
So much happier. Villa have just had a goal ruled out, but Hansen has just scored again. But yeah, this second half of Villa has been so much better. So yeah, if I randomly shout, I apologise, but hopefully it'll be a good shout.
It will be a positive. We hope so. We're gonna be dealing with this as it goes on, live action as it happens. So just shout out if there is something happening. We'll just deal with it. This is it. Our first live fixtures going through, so it's all very exciting. And of course, it's brilliant that we have everybody here. We've been very excited this week. I don't know if everybody saw our new celebrity follower, John Cena, this week as well, has decided that he's following the Absolute Football Podcast. So, of course, the time is now to introduce Danny is here. Danny, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good. Funnily enough, I didn't see that. But yeah, good. Thank you. Very good week as well. Northampton Town women winning 6-0 this week, so I'll slip that in before we start. So that's a lovely win for them up at Notts County to keep them in the top half of, easily in the top half of the FA Women's National League Division 1 Midlands. It's a lovely win for them. So good week all round, really.
Epic. That's very good. Always positive when your team wins. It does add a spice to what's going on. So we'll stick the ticker up again. I won't keep it going through the whole show, but just sort of an update. It is still Brighton 1, Aston Villa 1. I think disallowed goals going in, but we think it's still 1-1. Chelsea 3, Sunderland 0. London City postponed with Arsenal. Lots of news coming on with London City, which I'm sure we'll get to in a minute. And Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1 is the latest in the Conti Cup. And of course, there are people in the chat. There was our super team in the chat supporting us as well. If you're all listening on YouTube, on audio, you can of course join us on YouTube and Twitch and join in the fun in the chat. Graham is with us. Good evening all, says Graham. All right, everybody, says Mr. Luke. Welcome to you. Simon is here. Evening all. You can't see me on the John Cena theme. Here he is. And there we go. And Spenny fan Chris is with us as well. Good evening all you beautiful people. There we go. And Graham, I didn't see that. Nice John Cena reference there, Danny. Sneaking that in. Very well played. So where do we want to start? I suppose, does anybody want to talk about London? What's happened with London City? I suppose double news. One, their game's not happening, and second, a managerial change. Anybody want to jump in on that at the start?
I think it was just bizarre, wasn't it, that they left it so late to postpone the match? Because I even looked at the weather, right? Because it got to a point where everyone was like, there hasn't been that much rain. Like, does London City just, exist by itself in this bubble? But yeah, they had 14 millimeters of rain in the past 24 hours, if anyone's bothered. So not quite sure what that says about where they are, or maybe the state of the pitch, that I just really couldn't handle it. So fair play. We don't want it to be dangerous for the players, but you'd hope maybe there was another stadium nearby that they could have maybe had an arrangement with, because it's a shame that people have travelled, people have booked time off work, things like that. So yeah, it's always a letdown when it changes last minute. But yeah, a bit bizarre, that one.
It was a bit bizarre, yeah, that's it. And that was the first bit of London City news. And then I think Danny was reporting to all of us in the chat that the manager's gone as well. So what's happened there, Danny?
I mean, Carolina Morris, there was a lot of hype about her in the summer, last summer when she joined up. I mean, whether she left the sprinklers on, whether she left the taps on today, I don't know. I don't know what she did in the last sort of few hours before that game started. But obviously, if they were playing tonight, would that have been a last? Would she have had a last chance? Obviously, they're playing Arsenal, I think it was, so that would have been a difficult game anyway. But I mean, it's just a bizarre timing wise. I think it's like, the game's off. We might as well sack her now. Were they waiting just to play tonight and lose again? I don't know, but really bizarre and a lot of strange things happening there. But they're not doing well in the league either, which we'll come to later on. But when you've put a lot into a manager, really hyped her up, it's difficult for them to go and for it not to work out. So we'll see where they go next. It seems to be a lot going on managerial wise this week.
Yeah, it certainly has done. And so, as you said, maybe she's put all the paper towels down the toilet, I think, as she's left. There we go. We'll go.
And she's wreaked her revenge by blocking up the system.
I'll just get the toilet before I go, if that's all right. Yeah. And then there you go. So, of course, there's more people coming into the chat as well. Our very own Charlotte is here. Charlotte, I hope you're good. She's doing her lower league graphics for the show tomorrow while she's with us. So, welcome to Charlotte, as always. And Graham gives us weather. We've got live Conti Cup updates and weather updates. So Graham is about 4 miles from Dartford and can confirm it has been raining and very wet. Not surprised it got cooled off. There we go. Live. We have live reporters everywhere to keep you on top of what is going on. Kieran joins in the chat. Thank you, Kieran, for coming in as well. And Shawnee's talking already about the front three of Man City tonight. Looks bullying. Chloe Kelly, Bunny Shaw, and Lauren Hemp. Yeah, not a bad trio to be lining up with at all. So one thing we want to talk about before we go to the WSL and what happened at the weekend, of course, there was also the Champions League draw was made, and it's very exciting. So we have our first graphic of the evening, which I'll just throw up there. Of course, it's the quarterfinals and therefore who may well play in the semi-finals, and probably that first bracket is the one that's most interesting, I think, in terms of a potential semi-final. Perhaps anyone want to talk about the Champions League draw?
You don't want to look too far ahead, I guess, do you? But because Chelsea, Ajax is a tough game for Chelsea. That'll be difficult over 2 legs. You'd expect Barcelona to get past Bran, but you just never know in Champions League as well. You'd expect it to be Chelsea-Barcelona, which would be really exciting for a semi-final. Obviously, there's this story behind Emma Hayes going at the end of the season. That would be her last game if she got to the final. So there's that kind of story bubbling away underneath as well. Will she take them to the final? I think is it in Spain? It's in Bilbao, I think, the final to have like a last hurrah. And it feels like it's written, but it's a tough route for them for sure. Ajax, then potentially Barcelona, and then obviously the final as well. So yeah, tough little route for Chelsea, but one they can potentially rise to.
I was looking forward to a Barca-Chelsea final, but then I realised that can't happen. So that'll be really interesting. Like Danny said, you'd expect Barca and Chelsea to come through there. And it'll be Battle of the Champions, won't it? Can Chelsea finally get the better of Barca, or are Barcelona just too good? I mean, they won 8-0 earlier tonight, and it's just, who can actually stop them at this point? But if you look at Lyon and PSG as well, again, I don't think Benfica and Häcken are going to give them an easy ride either. So I think it is the best teams that have got through to the stage. So I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Yeah, it looks a good mix of matches that you got in there. And I presume you saw Emma Hayes' Star Wars interview as well this week. Is Barcelona the dark side empire she was talking about in terms of they need to oversee? I mean, Rebecca, do you think if it gets that, can Chelsea see off Darth Vader of Barcelona, as Emma Hayes put it?
It'll be a tough one. I think that's going to be one of the most entertaining matches that we can see Chelsea play. I think it's 2 of the most evenly matched. But it's hard to say who could edge it.
It's a tricky one. As we say, you don't want to look too far ahead because there are quarterfinals and there may be things happen and shocks can happen. So there is the potential of not an easy ride. But we've certainly all got an eye to see how that's going to develop. So it's something to look forward to in the coming weeks with those games coming up for sure. So we will go to WSL. I don't think any more Conti Cup updates. No further goals have gone in, disallowed goals. No.
I will say Hasegawa's goal tonight, if you get a chance to check it out, because it's a quality goal from the edge of the area, underside of the bar. Love it when that happens. It's always the best type of goal that happens. So yeah, lovely goal from Hasegawa, but City still won it up here. Jeff.
Yeah, the underside of the bar goal. We love an underside of the bar goal. Thank you, Cami. Fantastic update. So here we go. Let's go straight into what happened at the weekend. And say we've got WSL this weekend. All games were played, so we have 6 matches to talk about straight off the bat, and we will run down from top to bottom. Of course, Aston Villa. We will of course come to you, Freya, on Aston Villa. Tell us what happened against Bristol City this weekend.
Not gonna lie, I'm glad I made notes because everything's gone out my brain. Just right on. So it's an interesting one. We went into this thinking, every game now is a must-win, or at least we need to get a point. We need to get something. We can't keep stagnating. We can't keep going backwards because, as we're seeing the teams below us, everyone seems to have strengthened in the window, and we haven't really. Especially when we've seen, tonight on the bench we had Alicia Lehman, Georgia Mullett, and then some academy players because we don't have anyone because we've got loads of injuries. So, yeah, I think due to injury, due to loans and various other things, we're really struggling to compete at the minute. We've had moments of really good play and potential, and it's frustrating that it can't be over a whole match. It's either the first half or the second half or 10 minutes here and there. So it's getting that sustainability in. But thinking about the match, we went ahead. Jordan Nobbs was back to kind of her Arsenal glory days of that strike just from outside the box. And it felt really good. And I felt, okay, we won 2-0 away before Christmas and thought, right, okay, it's not a guaranteed 3 points because we know how Bristol have been playing. They've been fighting for everything. But it was moments of sloppy passing from Villa out from the back again, which led to the first equaliser. Then it got to Adriana Leon finally getting a goal because she deserves so much more praise than she gets, Dre. And she's been called up for Canada as well, so we're going to miss her for a couple of games when she goes away on international duty. So again, it's how the team can come together and kind of overcome everything, really. So it was. We then got to, let me have a look. I wrote so much. So then we got to 2-1. We thought, right, can we keep it? And then Carrie Jones, don't know if anyone saw this wonder strike. It was very Rachel Daly-esque, and you couldn't even be mad at it, to be honest, for the equaliser. In fact, I think possibly goal of the season contender, or at least goal of the month, because it was cracking. It was really, really good. But it got to the point at the end with 2-2. We thought, right, it's a point. We'll take it at this point. Fine. You then looked at the stats, and I don't know if anyone else looked at the stats. Villa had 36 shots, 14 were on target, compared to Bristol's 4 shots with 2 on target, right? So that just sums up Villa's season completely. They're creating some chances, but they just can't get past that goal line for whatever reason. So it's that lack of clinical finishing. And you just think, if all of those 14 shots, 36 shots, 14 on target, if more could have just gone through, they could have found a way, then that really would have put it to bed and been like, right, this is Villa, this is what they can come and do. But then we had more news today about Rachel Daly getting a 3-match ban. And you just thought, oh, can anything else? Can anything else go wrong? So no one saw it at the time, which is, again, that can be another discussion about whether this is right, that we can go back and check decisions, because the ref was in a really good position. There's a really good still. The ref, let's say it happened here, the ref was like diagonal onto it, so she would have had a really good position. She didn't see it, the commentator didn't see it, so completely missed at the time. But looking back, what's happened, Megan Connolly has got hold of Rachel Daly, both hands on her shirt in the box as a corner's coming in. So Rachel's gone, get off, and you can see her kind of saying it like that. But as they both moved at the same time, Rachel's elbows gone into Megan Connolly. So it wasn't a elbow straight in our face WWE move. It was just a get off, I'm trying to get this goal. So whether that should be taken into account, I don't know. Should it have been a 3-match ban? Probably not. But if they're saying violent conduct, then fair enough. We saw Martina Piemonte get done for something similar retrospectively earlier in the season. So if that's something they're doing, fine. But there's lots of other things that have been missed that maybe should have then been changed. So yeah, it goes back down to refereeing and where the standards are really, just to make it fair across the board. So yeah, so not the win we didn't get the 3 points we wanted, but I'll take the 1, to be honest. I really will.
This is it. 1 is better than none. As you said, with those stats are horrible then. I think I saw it in the chat. Shawnee said, sounds like my FM story. Yeah, that is a very Football Manager thing. I think that's the term is you've been football managered when when the stats are that heavy in your favour and it's not kind of gone in. And there's more refereeing discussion I'm sure we'll have a bit later on down the page. I'm sure Rebecca was very keen to have her say on referees as well this weekend. It is consistency. Consistency is the biggest problem across all of football really, and it is. You look at one incident to the other and it's so frustrating, it really is. And so when it goes against you, and then you watch something else the next week, there's nothing more infuriating. It is horrible. We're getting live updates from the chat as well. I think there's been another goal gone in the Conti Cup. So Spenny Fan Chris is very good with the updates. He was on Monday as well. Chelsea have scored. Frank Kirby has scored the 4th goal there as well. So they are 4-0 up against Sunderland. So a 2-2 draw for Villa, as you said, and a very good point for Bristol City. You know, and they needed that, particularly with West Ham winning, which we'll come to shortly as well. So a good point from their side as well. Rebecca, do you want to talk about, this is one I like because Man United have won. I'm always happy about that. So go and tell me, make me happy while I sip on my coffee.
Yeah, a good win for Man United. It leaves them 4 points off Arsenal, so there is still a bit of a chance for them to keep up with the top 3 at the moment. Nikita Paris got on both. I do enjoy watching her score. It was a difficult week for Brighton. They had their interim manager, Mickey Harris. He suffered his first defeat in his first match with Brighton. They did have their chances, but they just couldn't capitalise, and it was a very, very good performance from Man United. I think, have I got anything else? Yeah, apparently Phillips didn't actually meet up with the team until Friday. So he didn't really have much time to help prepare for what was ahead. So it was a bit of a challenge, but yeah, it was an interesting watch.
An interesting watch. So Nikita Paris is having a very good season for Man United. And Graham says, yes, two Man United wins for me in one weekend. I don't know what to do with myself, Graham. It's just not it's not something I've been very used to this season. So I'll take it while it's available. Going back to the chat as well, there's a change in score, but for who, Chris Kamar, we are enjoying the Soccer Saturday. There has been some chat about maybe doing a live one potentially at the end of the season, which could be very, very exciting. If we can get all of our graphics sorted, that could be a fun final day. We'll see how we go with that. But Man United 2, Brighton. Anybody else, anything else to say on that from United or Brighton perspective before we move on?
United, Nikita Paris, good to see us knocking in the goals. I think that's the second brace in a row. It was her and Jay-Z. I've seen about 100 different pronunciations of her name from different commentators. It's Jace, yeah. She's kind of moved out to the right-hand side, and they seem to have really clicked on something now. Mark Skinner will give him credit for that. He's been sort of toying with different forward lines throughout the season. Now they seem to really hit on something with Paris down the middle and Jace down the right, like using her pace to set up. And both of the goals were exactly the same from the right-hand side. Paris just finishing it off. So, and there's even a little bit of talk of another England call-up for Nikita Paris again, in terms of not sort of a backup player, but in a central role, because potentially if she keeps on scoring the goals, you never know, get her back in there.
Yeah, she's earned it, hasn't she?
Definitely. Yeah, always good to see her as well. Good to see her doing well.
Yeah.
This is it. If you're banging in the goals, you're always going to be knocking on the door for contention, and saying Nikita Paris, one that is known well amongst the England squad for years in the past as well. So it'd be great. Yeah, great for her if she could get back in there. A question on the Conti Cup actually coming in for I suppose for Freya. This is one that you could be contending with very shortly. With Brighton Villa being 1-1 now in the 89th minute. What will happen? Are we extra time, penalties? What's the what's the procedure in the Conti Cup?
I think it's penalties.
Straight to pens.
I think it's straight to pens.
Can we get live commentary on the penalties? Just
Well, Villa have just missed 2 shots on goal. So,
we just watched your reactions when that was happening.
If anyone's watching this, I do apologise for my facial expressions, but they've now got 3 kick in a very dangerous area, 90th minute. So I will keep everyone updated.
We'll see what happens. We may have a live penalty shootout on the pod. Let's see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward. Next up, we'll let Freya sort of digest the last couple of minutes there. And we'll come to Danny on West Ham 2, Arsenal 1. Wow, surely result of the weekend. Unbelievable.
What a result. One of the results of the season for West Ham, for anybody, really. The first time West Ham have ever beaten Arsenal in the WSL, which is an amazing stat. Arsenal... I mean, the thing that we thought we were going to be talking about to the whole game was Leah Williamson being back and starting and back in that side. That's the talking point that was sort of seeming to be what was going to happen throughout the game. But I mean, West Ham dug in, 5 at the back. They put it all on the line. Their defending at times was amazing, like putting everything on the line. Arsenal throwing everything at him for the first half. There was one challenge in particular that I highlighted in my notes, the Hiyashi challenge on Miedema. Miedemar's going through in the penalty area, and you just see Hiyashi coming from behind her. She's a good 5 or 6 yard behind her, and she makes the challenge and puts it out for a corner. Superb defending. It's exactly what they need right now, West Ham, to be digging in and fighting for it. Miedema hit the bar. Russo put Arsenal in front, so you just think that's it now. Arsenal are going to go and run away with the game now. They've broken that resistance, which you sometimes see when the team's been defending so hard and so well. You sometimes see as soon as that first goal goes in for the favourites, you sometimes see it sort of run away from the underdog type team. But West Ham, fair play to them, got back in it. Slightly controversial penalty, probably not the first one we're going to talk about this week. But Say steps up, scores really confidently, and then punched by Zinsberger for the winner. Not confident at all, and it's dropped to Sissoko on the edge of the area. Central defender, but first time looped a shot in. Lovely, lovely goal. Arsenal got a penalty claim themselves late on. Gorry sort of checking Lacasse probably could have been given, but fair play to West Ham again. They've just been superb in that game. They've dug in. They've properly given Arsenal a fight, and Arsenal just didn't seem to have a proper response to it. You see, we'll talk about Chelsea later, but you see how Chelsea, you see how Man City adjust the games and really put them, like, come up with a game plan to, if their plan A doesn't work. With Arsenal, it sometimes just doesn't happen, and that's their 3rd defeat of the season now. And no team has ever won the WSL with 3 defeats, so it's hard to see them get back into the title race now. And they'll be so frustrated at just not finding a way back into it. There's a couple of questionable substitutions as well, going a little bit more on the defensive side rather than going for it. So strange ones. But obviously for West Ham, superb, and one of their signings, Katrina Gorry, just superb throughout. Really, really good stuff on them. And I don't think they're going to have any relegation fears now. Jumped up to 9th in the league. Really, really good performance.
Yeah, absolutely huge result for them. As you say, for Arsenal, just not, and there's never a good time to drop points, but certainly right at the moment with Chelsea and City playing the way they are, not helpful at all for them. I mean, do you see any way back Arsenal could fight their way back in it, or do you think this is them done?
I mean, the only way they're going to do it is by beating the teams around up above them now, because the teams they've lost to, they're going to be so annoyed, because I think it's Spurs, Liverpool, and now West Ham they've lost to. So nowhere near sort of teams in the top 3 or 4. That's the thing that's going to frustrate them the most at the end of the season. The only chance they will have is if they do go and beat City, they go and beat Chelsea and try and claw it back that way. But they've got to keep back up their performances with results against the teams below them as well. And they're just not doing that at the moment. Any kind of slip up now is going to be fatal for them. And I just don't see it, because if they even draw a game now, they're going to be really stuck. So yeah, that'll be a massive, massive blow to them.
It does look like it's gonna massively cost them there. We'll go to the chat. Simon, he loved that result as his sisters are Arsenal fans. Yeah, there you go. Nothing like a sibling who supports a different side. I can that I imagine adds a massive back and forth all the time. Spenny fan Chris, never a penalty. It was never in the box.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was. It was just outside, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it says didn't agree with that decision. Another decision, as we said. Latest score: Chelsea 5-0. Chelsea scoring again. Greedy Chelsea. All the goals, consistently scoring. Fran Kirby with her second goal. So it gives me another chance to put the ticker up. The ticker is back. We've had another goal at Chelsea. So that's where we are. Brighton Villa still 1-1, and Man City still 1-up at Tottenham in the Conti Cup. So yes, massive for West Ham, as you said. Jumps them big up the lead. Arsenal, we don't know what's going on. We'll give Freya. Do you want to do Man City Leicester now, or do you want to wait until after the? Which way round do you want to do it? Is it better now, or is it better after what's going on?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have just double checked. It is extra time and then penalties.
Okay, so we have some time.
But Villa look absolutely shattered because they've only been able to make one substitution. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, 1-1 at the moment. But yeah, Man City, because I remember I was refreshing the feed and I could see the goals and all the other matches. And I was like, why is Man City Leicester still 0-0? Like, what is going on? And then it got to, I mean, Leicester did really well to keep it at 0-0 for so long. Like their defendant, CJ Bott, made some fantastic right off the line, fantastic clearances. Very, very impressed with her. That's why she's in my fancy team. But yeah, they came back. They had a couple of chances. I think Laura Coombs had a chance before half time. Philippa Angeldal also had one as well. But then we got to, let's have a go. Yeah, Bunny Shaw rattling the post. So you thought, right, City are scoring soon, but when? Like, when's it going to come through? And then it was 82nd minute, maybe, was it? Lauren Hemp does a scorpion kick to get her goal in, which is very impressive. And afterwards she said, yeah, I just really want to hit it with my right foot. So she just contorted herself around quite impressively. And it still managed to go in. So yeah, very impressive by her as always. And then of course, Chloe Kelly took a corner a couple of minutes later and went straight in. So did a nice little Katie McCabe there. So yeah, very, very nervy start. But City needed those 3 points to keep for that title race. So yeah, managed to win it in the end. So I think it's still going to be a very close call at the top. I really do after that one.
Yeah, good for them to get those late goals. We said Arsenal not getting across the line, but City are and do, and that's the difference between your title race, isn't it? When you got your teams doing that, so very, very important win for Man City to get that through. As you said, I saw a bit of the highlights of that one, and just some fantastic defensive blocks, goalkeeper saves, and it really was kind of Leicester were putting the wall up, really were, and it took something special from Hemp to break the deadlock. So a fantastic goal and a very good win for Man City in the end, having been there. We'll go back to the chat. Spenny fan Chris says, thank you, Freya, for letting us know on the extra time for Aston Villa. We've got, what else have we got in here? I've gone a bit further up the page. Graham says, can Freya survive another 30 minutes? We'll see what happens. Simon says, Ant will be in a great mood if he's on the lower league pod tomorrow. Laugh out loud. And Charlotte says, do not fear. He is on tomorrow. We may have another one of Ant's rants that we had the other week, and maybe back with another rant. So Manchester City 2, Leicester 0. And we'll go to the next one down on the page. We have Liverpool 1, Spurs 1, which I think, Danny, you're going to talk to us about what happened in that game.
Yeah, I tried to, because it wasn't a lot in the first half, especially for this game. Very, very even game, as you'd expect. Just two sides battling to try and disrupt the top 4 or 5. They both had really good seasons, to be fair, like surpassing themselves a little bit. And this was always going to be a really close game. Not a lot happened in the first half. And then Shalene Bizet, a little improvised finish for Spurs in the second half. She's had a really good season. She's injected a lot of energy into that Spurs attack. Spurs have then hit the posts, had a couple of chances to make it 2-0 later on. So they'll be a little bit frustrated not to win it in the end, especially seeing as though Liverpool equalised in stoppage time. Marie Hobinger with the goal. It's a slight mistake at right back for the goal as well with Spurs, so they'll be like even more annoyed at that's the thing that got her in. But a really good strike from Hobinger to level it for Liverpool. Really good battle of size. I mean, maybe not the best quality wise, but it was a really good battle and a really good fight on the pitch. Matt Beard not liking the pitch, by the way, after the game. His own pitch wasn't a fan of it. That's just a little note made from his interview. He wasn't a fan of his own pitch. So
the grounds team will be very happy about that, won't they?
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Dropped us right in it. No, there we go. Yeah, Liverpool won versus Tottenham won. I mean, where do you think where Liverpool going to sit where they are? Do you think how do you sort of rate Liverpool overall this season?
Yeah, definitely an improvement. That's all they needed this season, I think. I think they were never really going to disrupt the top 3 or 4 straight away. It's always going to be a bit of a gradual thing for them and for Spurs as well, to be fair, that they've also had a really good improvement on last season. So, yeah, I think they'll be really happy overall with the season. And the sort of highest they can probably get is 5th. But they'll be really happy with that. And it's all about what can they do next season and then gradually building up, because that gap towards the top 4 is going to take a long time to close. Maybe not so much in Man United this season. If they can nick that, they might be able to grab 4th. But all in all, I think that, yeah, both teams had a really good season.
Yeah, great step forward for both teams so far.
Yeah, definitely.
Mr. Luke's giving us some Gateshead FC ladies update. They're still 5th in the North East Regional Women's Football League. There we go. However, they did lose 4-0 to Pontyland United women.
Pontyland.
That sounds...
Pontyland. Yep.
Pontyland. That sounds like a theme park. I like that. Pontyland. And then might come the second team after Lewis. Pontyland. Very good. And we're getting there. Rebecca has been waiting patiently. She has been keeping the steam in her head to talk about the final one. Shawnee cannot wait for Rebecca's view on a certain referee's performance. So it was Chelsea 3, Everton 0. And lots happened with the officiating. So take it away, Rebecca.
Before I get into that, it was a very good match to watch, apart from a couple of incidents that happened. Thought Megan Finnegan, as always, incredible for Everton. She's my player of the season so far. Saves made by Courtney. And then, of course, the penalties. In my opinion, I don't think either of them were. The first one, both of them were incidents that involve Chloe Wheeler. And the first one, she got the ball, gone to clear it, and she's kicked, ball's gone, her foot has landed on the Chelsea players. Where is her foot meant to go? Because she's not going to kick it backwards, so it's going to end up going forward. So that was the first one. And then the second one, again, there's, she's holding, the holding hands running into the box, it looks, and then I think Chloe Wheeler went down first and she's done a little knee slide. Chelsea player fallen over. So again, minimal contact for me. I don't think they were. And then to top things off, Brian Sorensen got sent off, which was the fourth official has gone to put the board up and it had the wrong numbers on for a sub. So he's there saying, you've got the wrong number. So he was originally booked for that. And then it seemed to look like he's trying to arrange the players because the wrong players come off at this point. So they're like, right, let's reorganise. Second yellow for dissent and got sent off.
What a shambles.
It was a very odd one. And then they've released today that Everton have been charged for not controlling the players over the first penalty. And Brian Sorensen has been charged. So.
It's been charged for it as well. That's insane.
That's mad.
That's mental. He was literally talking to his players, wasn't he?
This is it. Who's watched that back and went, yeah, that's he needs to be charged for that. That's wrong. It's just unbelievable.
The look on his face was the look on all of our faces watching it as well. It's like, what is going on?
Honestly, the memes that could be made from Brian Sorensen are incredible.
It was a complete look of just absolute. Well, first of all, absolute shock and horror that they made the wrong. That the guys put the wrong number on the board, and it's a case of computer says no, you can't change it. Which is like, no, I'm the manager, and I'm telling you, I don't want this player to come off. It's my decision. Just screw your board. I'm telling you, this person is coming off, and then to try and then sort of rectify it and try and deal with the tactics of it and get it's absolutely baffling. It is absolutely baffling. And then to uphold it as well seems even more crazy. Yeah, a story and a half, that one, that was for sure. I say we'll go round and what we thought on the penalty decisions. I wrote the first one, clearly won the ball. I saw no issue at all with the first one. I thought that was ridiculous. And the second one, I think I had not clear and obvious, more soft and dubious was what I had in that kind of category. What do you two, Danny, Freya, what do you think on the penalty decisions?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, both of them soft for me.
Yeah, and then didn't the ref book the wrong player as well? I think she tried to give a yellow to, was it to Payne? But it should have been to, I can't remember now which way around it was. But yeah, that was communicated wrong. And I know there's been not wanting to single any refs out, but that particular ref has obviously had a lot of issues previous as well. So it's kind of well, if this is an ongoing thing, yes, everyone has a bad day, fine, like human error, it's all good. But when it's a continual thing that is so far beyond what every other ref's doing, you've got to think, okay, well, where's the standardization? Because if that's what they're all meant to be doing, then get everyone else up to her standard. Or if it's not meant to be up there, level it back again, because it ruins the game. Because then players are getting booked for dissent, but of course they're angry because the decision is ridiculous. So yeah, it's very, very strange. But yeah.
It is a bonkers one, and the fact they've upheld it and they've and I get sometimes there is a case of we know that they defend and they like to they don't want to put the referees in front and to sort of criticise or whatever, but when it's so kind of, as you said, multiple errors in the same game, it can happen, I suppose, and everyone's had a day where something goes wrong and then everything else goes wrong and the head's gone as well, probably known that one or two of those, I'd imagine you've made a mistake in a game as a referee sometimes, and that possibly makes them future, and then the whole thing kind of disintegrates into a disaster from that point. But it just seems bonkers. Graham says in the chat, another case of the league backing up the referee rather than doing the right thing. Shawnee, Emily, he loves being the centre of attention. First Greenwood, Alex Griffith for time wasting, and now two dodgy pence and a dodgy board. Yeah, I mean, very dodgy board. I don't know how that happens in terms of number 7. Okay, number 11, off you come. No, that's not what I said. It all seems a bit crazy. Rebecca, I imagine the Everton fans aren't too happy, are they, about all of this?
We're more confused than anything, because it's like you're watching it and you just say, like, how is this happening? It just felt like everything was against us. It's like there is like annoyance there because we didn't go. Unfortunately, like, you don't go into a match against Chelsea and think, oh, could we be getting 3 points from this one? But it was to see how well we did hold them, to then have 2 dodgy penalties given. You are like annoyed, but it's more confusion. I think we're still all messaging like, did this actually happen? Like, did they put the wrong number on?
It did beg a belief, didn't it? Yeah, I was just air of shock, I think, around everybody. So Simon also said a general question in the chat around refereeing, and so he talks about the first penalty wins the ball. Where's the leg supposed to go? Is the point as Rebecca made, but both penalties show some sort of video technology is needed in the WSL. Where do you guys stand on VAR and WSL? Who wants to go first? Yay or nay?
I'm not sure because I'm not a massive fan of it anyway, but it feels like with some of these decisions you're going to have to start bringing something in. It's like I'm on both sides of the fence almost, because it's like you need it for these massive decisions and how much of an impact it's going to have on games like this. Everton go into the game maybe not expecting anything, but you want to be beat by quality and not by the referee, essentially, don't you? And you want to see how you can compete without those 2 decisions. And, who knows what would have happened. But then again, for the title race as well, as bigger picture, that could have massive impact on the title race as well. So I think eventually it will probably come in. I don't know. I'm not sure whether I do want it or not, though, to be honest.
Yeah, because it's hard, isn't it? Because, like you said, there are some big moments where you're like, if only a VAR was there, you could see it from different angles, etc. Because as we've seen again with these kind of retrospective bans and things, they're using one camera to judge it, and it might look completely different from another angle. So I think if VAR can improve, because we've seen some of the messes that it's made in the men's game and in other competitions, if they get it right, I'm all for it. But at the minute, there's too much hassle associated with it. So even if in the women's game we could get goal line technology, just like something to enhance it, that's not going to take anything away, because we've already got, like we said, there's so many differences in standards, in quality of varying pitches, stadiums, just everything. We need something to be consistent, and that comes with investment and things like that. So as the women's game grows, it needs to increase incrementally, and that matches kind of where it is. So I don't think the women's game, WSL especially, needs VAR yet, but we just need to standardize everything, make sure that quality's there, so then if anything does come in, it can only improve it and not detract, to be honest. So
yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because the example that's set, obviously, what we have in the men's game, and the whole idea was the clear and the obvious, and it's gone way beyond the clear and the obvious to just everything, and has got completely out of control. If it was clear and obvious, then that was what we were having in the men's game, then it would have dealt with some of these issues at the weekend. But as you say, it probably does need to be incremental. I agree. You've probably got to start. You've got to start with goal line technology, because that has been a success, and that is clear. It's in or it's out. You've got the buzzer on the watch. It's very quick, and that, I think, has been a success. So that's a success. Implement that first, and then, as you say, work out. So the issue with the VR, as you said, it's the number of cameras, isn't it? That's going to be a real issue. That's going to be some significant investment to be able to bring that up. And bearing in mind, it's only in the top division of men's football. It's not in the championship and things like that. So it's quite a lot, I think, to suddenly bring all that in. And then not only that, the mess and the controversy that it brings as well, you're not clearing everything up, are you? You're adding different issues. So yeah, we will see. We will see what happens there. We will, of course, let the chat have their say as well. Graham says VR hasn't exactly helped the game, though, sadly. Spenny fan Chris, need more refs to use VAR, so that more refs being pulled from other games, going to stretch the pool too much. That's another point as well. You're going to need more to support the games that you have. Shawnee, if it's brought in, needs to be for the right reasons. Simon says if the officials see the second penalty incident from the angle behind, then it gets overruled. And Spenny fan Chris says, been watching the AFCON. There was quite a bit of VAR in the semi-final games where it actually worked with the Nigeria versus South Africa game, so it can be done right. Well, there we go. Miracles can happen if you just believe. Fantastic. So that's covered us all through. Where are we in the Conti Cup, Freya? What's the latest? Are you?
So it's still 1-1. We're at the 104th minute. I think Anna Patton went down after a knock in the box, but it's very end to end, and Brighton almost scored an own goal. Ooh. Almost. So yeah, it's not over yet. Not over yet, folks. We've still got a long way to go.
Still a long way to go. It is still well and truly on the case. So we'll go to the WSL table. So we've got Chelsea still leading the way. Manchester City still behind. Arsenal dropping ground. So that's now 6 points behind Chelsea at the top, with Manchester United, Liverpool and Tottenham making up the top half. Leicester and Aston Villa are tied on 13 points in 7th and 8th. West Ham jump up to 9th with that massive victory against Arsenal, which is huge. But they're level on points with Everton and Brighton, with Bristol City still at the bottom of the pile with 6 points, despite their point at the weekend. So before we go to the Championship, there is some huge fixtures coming up this weekend. So of course it's Conti Cup action tonight, but on Friday we've got Chelsea versus Manchester City. Is there any way that Man City can stamp themselves on this title race and do one over on Chelsea?
They've got as good a chance as any. Yeah. I reckon it'll be a really tight match because both teams have showed, they can show up. Chelsea have seemed maybe the more nervy of the two in some cases. They're not always playing at their best. So I think, why not? I think it'll be a really tight one. Looking forward to it.
Both got very strong teams to put out as well. So it could be a very, very exciting watch.
Yeah, it's a good way to start the weekend with that one. Going to be a very intriguing one. So that is 7:15 on Friday evening. Going through the other fixtures, you've got Arsenal, Manchester United as well on Saturday lunchtime. And Sunday it's Brighton, Liverpool, Everton, West Ham, Tottenham, Aston Villa, and Leicester versus Bristol City. And of course, you'll be able to catch what happened in all those games in next week's Absolutely WSL, because we come here weekly, and not all of us come here weekly, but the team. Some of the team will be here to tell you what's going on in the WSL next week, which is very exciting. But we do, of course, not just cover the Super League, we cover the Women's Championship as well, which has been incredibly exciting this season. It's been a very close battle towards the top, and we have some more matches to go through with you from the Championship. Freya's got some more, unfortunately, is sitting in the red, I think, a little bit on this side. But do you want to start with Durham, Sheffield United, Freya?
Yeah, as much as I hate to see Durham in the red. I mean, a 7-goal thriller. It was really good, to be fair, watching it back. So looking, I've divided it into first half and second half, my notes. That's how much was happening. So Durham essentially went up 2-0, and it looked like they were pretty confident. They were pretty happy. But Sheffield were never out of the game at all. They gave away a few sloppy passes, which led to the first 2 Durham goals. Then they rallied round and got one in off a header at the far post, so 2-1, so still all to play for. Then Saliki, she was defending in the United box and just shoulder barged her, just no even attempt to kind of hide it as like a little push or anything. So funny enough, got a penalty for Sheffield there. Now, Izzy Goodwin, ex-Villa player, young, really talented. So watch out for her as she comes along. But she gets her first goal of the match, so then brings it to 2-2. So it goes into halftime 2-2, and you think, right, how are they going to come out in that second half? And then Durham start to lose their composure a little bit, and Sheffield kind of rally round and go, right, okay, this is our opportunity, this is our moment. Sigsworth then scores to make it 3-2. However, Durham had kind of stopped playing because there was a player down, so they were waiting for the ref's whistle, but the ref didn't blow it because Sheffield had advantage. So it kind of just shows again, you kind of play to the whistle and not kind of stop, wait for the ref to make that decision. So that was an easy third goal for Sheffield United. And then the Durham keeper, McAloon, came out and fouled Izzy Goodwin. So second penalty of the match for United. Izzy gets her second conversion, so it's now 4-2. And then she scored again, but it was ruled offside, so nearly one got through for Durham. But in the 95th minute, Izzy chipped the keeper again and made it 5-2. So if you get a chance to watch those highlights back, it was a really good match. Fantastic win for Sheffield. And then really sad for Durham, that one, because they're now, let's have a look, Durham are 7th on 15 points, and now Sheffield United are only 1 point behind. Oh, no, it's in 17. So still a 1 point difference between them. So there's kind of that top chunk of the top 5 teams, and then there's the next 4 are all fighting for those mid places. So every point to play for still in the Championship, I think.
Yeah, definitely is the case. And so entertainment galore, 7 goals, penalty, almost as many goals there as there was in the remainder of the games in the Championship, actually. Durham and Sheffield United had the fair share of them. An absolute belter there. Graham says the Championship was drunk this weekend. Yeah. And just to clarify,
Championship always drunk.
Championship is always drunk. We're here for it. We are absolutely here for it. And just to clarify in the chat, yes, actually, we were wrong. It is the Women's FA Cup this weekend. So I've pulled up the next Super League fixtures, which are the week after. So there's just too many competitions going. We've got the Conti Cup live. We've done Champions League, and now we have FA Cup as well coming up this weekend. So yes, apologies. Women's FA Cup and then Chelsea Man City. A little bit longer to wait, but that's even better, just to wet the taste buds for the week after to come. A good win there for Sheffield United on Durham away from home. Next up, we have the team that we've spoken already about because they've got the sprinklers are on, the manager's gone, but none of this had happened at the weekend. This is all after this. What happened? What happened London City Blackburn then, Danny?
Yeah, it's another funny performance from London City. Blackburn have been a little bit inconsistent this season, so you would have thought London City fans going to the game, they might have thought, we can pick up 3 points here, but something just seems not quite right at London City. behind the scenes, obviously things are going on. New signings they've been bringing in all over the place, like Lotta Lindstrom last week, Megan Campbell signed after her Everton deal ended last week on deadline day as well. So you think a couple of extra bodies in there, they're going to start picking up. But Blackburn just came and did a real good job on them. And as so happens quite a lot, Lucy Shepherd with the only goal of the game against the club she left last summer. Really good finish for them. And Blackburn seem to have, they're inconsistent, they're up and down, but they seem to be a real togetherness about them, as if they're building something potentially not for this season. I know they've got a couple of games in hand, but little bit inconsistent this season. But what you can see is a real togetherness with the squad there. Can't really say the same about London City at the minute. It just seems like, they're putting a lot into it, but there's a real possibility of them going down, which for us would be amazing. It'd be funny, but to them, it's really, really on the edge, especially with what Watford are doing, which we'll come on to later on. They're really picking up form. Lewis are fighting for their lives as well. London City just seem to be the side that are dropping while the other two are starting to come up. And it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens the last few weeks of the season, because it's going to be a real fight.
Do you think that's so obviously they made the manager change subsequent to this and today that's panic? Do you think that there's a plan in place, or is there just we need to do something because they're in free fall, as you say, and can see a massive problem coming up in their near future if they're not careful?
No, I don't see a plan at all, if I'm honest. Like tonight's the prime example. It's like, would you have, like I said earlier, would you have given her tonight to do something or to try and get something and then sack her? Was it going to happen anyway? Or, it seems like there's no real long-term plan at a club where there should be a massive long-term plan, at the one place where they're sort of building it for. And no, it doesn't seem to be a plan at all. I can see him going for another sort of big name manager and seeing what happens to try and lift them out of this, but it's a really, really risky move, and they've got to get the appointment right, the next one. Otherwise they're going to be going down, which will be a disaster for them with what they've put into it.
It certainly would. And yeah, another shocking loss for them. Not a great week at all for London City, that is for sure. We have a question for you, Danny, in the chat from Sean. He's kind of said, where do Northampton women players? I'd love to go to the game versus Kettering at home a week on Sunday.
Nice. Yeah, we play at the Fernie Fields, which is the home of Silby Rangers. So Sean, you'll know the Cobblers men's team have played quite a few pre-season friendlies there. It's a really nice setup, actually. Probably the best non-league pitch in the area. I've renamed it the Fernabel for our podcast, which seems to be picked up a little bit. So yeah, really, really nice atmosphere there. Amazing chips. Loads of goals constantly, and really nice atmosphere, really nice feel to it, with really good family atmosphere as you tend to get. So yeah, do get on down and let me know if you're coming as well, and I'll see if I can cop down as well, because it's I've got a season ticket from this season. It's the first time they've been able to offer season tickets. So yeah, really, going in the right direction for sure.
There we go. Lots of. I was wondering if you're talking about chipped goals for a second, or potato chips.
Well, yeah. Both. Lovely chips.
The keepers play sweeper keeper down there quite regularly.
Definitely, yeah.
So we've just in the chat as well. FA Cup up this weekend. Arsenal Man City is the standout from the women in the FA Cup this weekend, Sunday the 11th on BBC 2 at 12:30. Look, Spenny fan Chris is on the case. To give you all the important information. We do have a full time in the Conti Cup. It's Tottenham 0, Manchester City. So chance to bring the banner up again. There we go. So we've got extra time in Brighton, Aston Villa, Chelsea, Sunderland full time 5-0. London City has been postponed, and Man City knocking out Tottenham. So there we go. And we've got another game to go to, and say Freya will come to you for this one, and then you can focus on the last dramatic minutes of the Conti Cup. Reading 1, Sunderland 0.
Yeah, no, Villa have had the majority of the chances, so I'm just waiting for that magical moment. 112th minute, in case anyone's interested. So Reading Sunderland was an interesting one, because if you look at Sunderland's form and Reading's form, you thought this would be an easy one, really, for Sunderland, easy 3 points. But there was a massive decision made against Louise Griffiths in the 36th minute. She was given a straight red, so they went down to 10 players. So the fact that it was only 1-0, considering they went down so early on, we can take some solace in that. I think overall talking's kind of the Sunderland's fan groups and things like that, who were there in the stadium. The team deserved a lot more for the effort that they put in, the performance they give. But yeah, so Louise Griffiths, she did a lovely hair pull, which we know is violent conduct. So yeah, went straight off. First offence, so it could have been a yellow, but as they're trying to stomp down on any of that, then fair enough. She definitely shouldn't have done it. But yeah, hopefully she'll learn for next time and never do it again, to be honest. So down to 10. So they made the most of what they have, to be honest. There were some interesting reffing decisions, as we've seen across all the leagues this weekend. But yeah, they held them well. But it was Reading's 18-year-old, Madison Perry. She put them in front in the 77th minute. So it was right near the end. So if they could have held on for a point, it would have been great. But looking at the results, they are still second, I believe. Let me have a look. Yeah, still second on 28 points behind Charlton on 30. And looking at the other results in the table, if we had a weekend to lose, it would be this one, because all the other contenders lost as well near the top. So not great that we couldn't get any points, but also not bad in the grand scheme of things. So yeah.
This is it. It's always key. That's the first thing you're looking for when you've lost. What's happening elsewhere? What's happening elsewhere? Are we okay? And it is the championship, so anything can happen. Anyone can beat anybody, as definitely was proved this weekend. So not too much. Sunderland are very much still on the coattails and very close. We've got now our very fast becoming the podcast team. Lewis,
come on,
Lewis are there, and I know Graham. I think Graham was there actually. I'm sure he'll tell us in the chat. So Graham, I think you were there. Do tell us what your thoughts were on the game as well. We'll come to you, but Rebecca is going to cover Charlton versus Lewis for us. How did it go?
I thought it was a good point for Lewis, although they were winning until the 80th minute, until Charlton got the equaliser. It seems to be in the championship, they like a later goal. Just I've noticed that like throughout. But yeah, it's a good point for Lewis. It shortens the gap to 2 points behind London and Watford, and they have a game in hand, so it's still all to play for. It's made it quite interesting at the bottom, and Charlton do remain top, and they extended the lead by an extra point on Sunderland, so it's still keeping it close at the top and the bottom with that match.
Certainly did, and a very big point as well for Lewis. Say top versus bottom. The amount of times you do see that happen in the leagues, actually, that it does tend to sort of make things difficult. Stats wise, were Charlton well on top, or was it just and Lewis nicked one, or was it a fairly even game?
It seemed to be like quite. They both had their chances, and they both like dominated when they could, but it did seem to be Charlton just topped them towards the end.
There we go. So it's still, the dream is still alive for Lewis. That will be a very exciting final day if we do cover it. If Lewis is still in the chance to keep up, I think there'll be a collective cheer around if that happens, I think, on the final day. So Lewis still very much in very good point for them, and very good. And Charlton, as you said, still remain top, which we'll come to in a moment. We will look at the table, and Graham is giving us his view. We pretty much did everything but score. In fact, they dominated most of the game. The first half they couldn't finish, and Lewis scored a good goal. I love the fact he's written that out as Lewis scored a good goal with Amy Claypole. Second half we just piled on the pressure, and they couldn't get through in the end. So Charlton won. Lewis won. And again, two teams that come on, Danny.
So I was just looking at the fixtures. It looks like London City are at home to Lewis on the last day.
Oh,
so that is an amazing fixture. I mean, that could be the decider. I think we should all just go down there if that's the case. It's still a live pod from London's. Well, if we can get through the swamp of London City, if we can swim, if it's not chucking it down. That's looking like an absolutely huge game.
Yeah, this is it. That could be absolutely massive, and we'll just have to make sure that they've not turned the sprinklers on that day, or no one's paper toweled the toilet, or anything.
When Phil Neville's in charge of London City.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got to say some people I say in the chat. I think it's new. Jay's in the chat. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Pleasure to have you with us. And Valerie's joining us in the chat as well. So Melissa Phillips was the manager at London City before leaving to Angel City. It'll be interesting to see if she returns. If her leaving Brighton was the reason for the sudden changes, I think that's a possibility.
Could be. Valerie sits next to me at the Cobblers women's game. By the way, she's a fellow season ticket holder.
Fellow season ticket holder, very good. Thank you for joining us, fellow. You're always welcome to join us on the
Sorry, to see Shah's comment as well.
Shah, of course, yes. There we go. Carnage. She's preparing for Thursday with Carnage. We're running on the pitch when Lewis stay up. Could you imagine? We'll get the whole team down there, all 13, 14 of us now, and pitch invasion. Lewis, if they stay up, could be incredible. Just Graham's finishing off his match report on charting it. Got our deserved equaliser. Couldn't get a winner. Weather affected the game as it was so windy, but given the other results, it's a good point despite the disappointment of not winning. Yeah, that's it. It's not too bad to have won, to have missed. So there we go. Paul's joined us as well. Our very own Paul. He's made it late back on London City. They made a huge thing about is that Moraes? How do you pronounce that? Morachi, and the speed of her and both Phillips being sacked is very, very strange indeed. Yeah, Paul, our knowledge man. Of course, you can catch Paul as well. Paul joins us on Wednesdays as well as part of the team. I was on last week and we'll be on very soon as well. So looking forward to having Paul back with us. But we're going to come on to the next game between two teams that were battling towards the top end of the table as well. Southampton versus Crystal Palace. Danny, Crystal Palace got the better of them.
Yeah, really, really big win for Palace. Always when you've got like 4 or 5 teams going for the title, going for promotion, it's always so important to beat one of the rivals to take points off them. And Palace dominated this in the first half. They absolutely love getting players forward. I love watching Palace because they've got 4 midfielders who kind of sit behind Elise Hughes. They all just bomb forward. Whenever they've got the ball, they're all just thinking their first thought is, let's get forward, let's get in the box, let's make an attack happen. And in this game, they just dominated for the first half, first 20 minutes especially, flooding the midfield. Isabel Atkinson getting them in front with a deserved lead. Break up play in midfield, bombed forward, typical Palace goal. Really good finish from Atkinson as well. And Southampton just struggled to get into the game. They couldn't get a way into it because Palace were just swarming all over them. And they had one chance through Pharaoh, but couldn't put it away. And then Elise Hughes with her 14th of the season, right on half time. Another really nice move. Rhea Percival down the right hand side. She had a really good game. Nice 1-2 with Hughes. Percival hits the post and Hughes just follows it up with a tap in like she does. I think Percival deserved the goal, honestly, for a lung busting run down the right. But that made it 2-0. Southampton started the second half with a little bit more intent, chasing shadows a little bit still, but you just sensed a little bit of that high intensity from Palace dropping off a little bit in the second half. Sometimes you get that with high intense teams, that energy sort of 60, 70 minutes starts to drop, especially when there's 2-goal leads. And so a little bit of tiredness coming in for Palace, which let Southampton back in it a little bit. Goal from a free kick for Southampton makes it 2-1. Kendall lost the marker and put it in to half the deficit. But Palace hung on to it. They dug in to see out the win. There was 2 really different sides of Palace that we saw throughout the game, really, in this one. Their attacking intent in the first half, and then their willingness to fight for each other in the second half. They've got a game in hand on the rest of the teams at the top as well. So they're coming into it now on 27 points, 3 points off the top with a game in hand. Their goal difference is incredible. It's 39. They've scored 39 goals. They've only conceded 17. Top scorers in the league by a long way. So if you want goals, it's Palace to go and look at, to go and watch. And once these games in hand get played, it's going to be so tight. It is already, but Palace are just one of my favourite teams at the minute. They're really, really just loving attacking, loving scoring goals. So yeah, check them out if you can. Then they've got Chelsea this weekend as well in the Cup, which will be a great game.
Of course, yes, they will. That will be interesting to see how they get on with those levels between. As I said, a very good win for them in the Championship this weekend. Away from home wins always massive as well, so that's a big one at Southampton. Paul says in the chat about Charlton picking the best weekend to slip up slightly, as we said, as other teams, the top teams took points off each other. With Palace's game against Birmingham on March the 4th. which is huge now. It's a fantastic day because actually that's my birthday. So what a fantastic day to have such a magical game coming up in the future. And I think, are we right in saying, Freya, it's full time? We've got penalties. Is this true?
Ooh.
Yeah, so it depends. They're all having their team talks at the moment. So yeah, this is going to be a good.
That's going to happen. So yeah,
but yeah, Villa have had the most of the chances. So I really hope it doesn't, because penalties can be the best way and the worst way to lose. Best way to win, worst way to lose. Yeah, that's the right way around. And yeah, I really hope they don't mess it up, because there are so many people who want Villa out of this competition. Prove everyone wrong. So hopefully they stay strong, but the pitch doesn't look great. Everyone's slipping over, everyone's sliding. Like, yeah, it's going to be an interesting foreseeable. Yep.
It's gonna be a tension coming up. The Freya wasn't anticipating this late into the podcast. What's going to happen? So what we'll do is we'll go to Rebecca in the final game on that list, Watford Birmingham, and then we'll see once the penalties start. We'll go back and find out what's occurring. Rebecca, Watford 2, Birmingham 0 for now. What happened?
It was a great win for Watford. The 3 points to see them move off the bottom of the league, which was a great result for them. Was a bit of a shock. Birmingham, if they could have won, they could have gone second with the results that happened over the weekend. So that was a bit of a lot to play for them. Watford were able to capitalise. It was very evenly matched possession-wise. Birmingham did just edge it, but then I just don't think Birmingham could score. They had 11 shots, but unfortunately for them, only 2 on target, but they just couldn't capitalise on it. But yeah, very, very good win for Watford.
Yeah, very good win for Watford. With Birmingham, another one of those teams to have dropped points, as we said, at the top of the table. So not great for them, but very good for Watford, that is for sure. So we'll flick over quickly to the table. And Charlton still top, 15 games played, 30 points. Sunderland just behind, losing at the weekend on 28. Crystal Palace 27, having played 14 with that game in hand, as we said. Southampton in 4th, Birmingham in 5th, but it's 4 points between the top 5, so it is extremely, extremely tight up there. Graham is very happy to see the table as a Charlton fan there. They are in the gold, currently sitting at the top. There's Blackburn in 6th and 18. Durham and Sheffield United also on 18 in 7th and 8th. Reading behind on 15 points in 9th, but they have a couple of games in hand as well over a few teams. London City in 10th with 12. Watford in 11th now with that massive 3 points for them with 12. And Lewis with 10, just behind, game in hand. It's very, very, very exciting and it's very, very tense. Paul says, huge win for Watford for staying. Now, Michelle Aguiman is an incredible talent, and she and Carly Jones are going to be crucial because between them, they can fire Watford to safety.
Yeah, Aguiman's an incredible player. It's so good.
So good and so important for them, so important to them. And there's lots of penalty chat in the chat. Simon, Benny Van Chris says, yeah, brings me out too many nightmares in playoff games, penalties. Simon hates penalty shootouts. Shawnee says, if it's slippery, where's John Terry when you need him? There we go. Right. Freya, what's happening? Is it started?
So Daphne saved the first 10. So Brighton have missed one already. Sarah Malin's just stepped up for Villa. Oh, and that's as well. Okay. So they both missed the first two.
Both missed the first. Oh no, it's the tension of the penalties. They both missed the first penalties. So
the goalies.
Goalies are doing the business.
Sophie was brilliant. So yeah. I can't. Right, who's definitely number 9 for Brighton.
Was Rachel Daly banned for this one? Or is this the first match?
Yeah. So this one, Tottenham and Liverpool, I think it is. That's just got the 3-4, yeah. But it might be good for her for a little break because there's been a lot of pressure on her this season. So
we've got a new ticker. A new ticker is here.
Okay, so that one was a complete miss for Brighton. So they've
So Brighton have missed their first two, and Aston Villa have missed none.
Right. I think Freya might need a new ticker after this as well, to be honest.
A large glass of something after this. Okay, Adrian and Leon are stepping up. I have a shirt behind me. Will it bring me good luck? I hope so. It's the waiting between when they step up and then they,
the tension of
the walk, isn't it?
Here we go.
Feel the tension.
The tension.
Just squeezing the ball for ages. Just not happy with it. Football.
You will go in. You will go in. You will go in.
Never expected this.
This is the perfect. This timing of this is amazing.
Oh, it's epic.
Come on, Dre. Come on. Yes. Yeah. Okay. What about the first one?
We're guessing from that punch to the air that it is. So we update the ticker as we are now 2 penalties in. Aston Villa. 1-0 up. There we are. It's in the ticker, so it's official. It is official. This our first ever podcast penalty shootout live.
Mark's in his sat in front of his TV, just with something ready to throw at it.
This is it. John Cena is enjoying this one. I can tell you that.
Welcome to the women's game. Okay, so this is Liz Erland stepping in.
She'll score, won't she?
No. She won't, from here. Come on, Daphne. Come on.
Now you've said that, she won't.
Yeah, I was going to say. Who's that commentator?
Daphne saved it.
There we go.
It. Missed the
Commentator's curse.
This is it.
Cursed it.
Jinxed her.
There you go.
Jinxed her. Has anybody got any rituals during a penalty shootout or anything that they do, or is it just you're like me and it's just a hide behind the sofa job and hope for the best?
I think I just hide in my coat if I'm at the game, but it's
yeah. Because me and Lindsay went to I think it was last season's FA Cup, I think, where we were against Man United, I think, and Villa won on penalties there, and we couldn't cope. We were just hiding behind the barrier.
Yeah. We've had some weird ones in, like the Northampton men have had a couple in the EFL Pizza Cup bars. Who saved it?
So Richard Corsey's shot was saved. So it's still just one for Villa, none for Brighton.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
She hesitated.
It's almost more tense than when they miss, when they're all missing rather than them all scoring.
Because it was like that at the World Cup, wasn't it? Was it the USA? Which one went on for ages because everyone kept missing?
Was it USA Sweden, wasn't it?
Sweden, I think, yeah. And that one rolled over the line at the end.
Lena Hurtig's one. Yes, I remember that one. Okay, I think, is it Zigiotti? Oh, saved again. Yes. Oh, definitely. She did it. Wait, 4. They can only get 1.
I think it's now, isn't it? If Villa score, that's it.
Villa get this next one. I think, yeah.
That is it. Wow, four missed. There's a force field in that Villa goal.
I'd love.
Actually, for Daphne Van Dontel.
Who's taking it?
Okay, Anna Patton is stepping up. Come on, Patsy. Come on.
This is it for the victory.
Come on, Patsy.
We all start doing a drum roll.
Live podcast penalties.
Yes, did it.
It's there. It's there. It is there.
Did it. We've got 2, and we are live celebrating.
Look at that. Can they just hold up a picture of Mark Skinner's face now?
Yeah, to everyone who wanted Villa out, that's directly for them.
It's not happening. Absolute full time. They've won the penalty shootout 2-0. And Freya can rest easy. Our first podcast penalty shootout. There we go.
Members of the fan club went down, and you can hear them whenever you can hear horns on a Villa match. That's the fan club, and to make that massive journey and then to have that as a result is just insane. So, and that's you know, that's the magic of football, isn't it? Literally anything can happen, and it's right down to the final wire. So
this is
football's
it.
great, isn't it?
Down to the wire. Chris says Villa win 2-0 on pens. Paul, I absolutely feel for Freya at the moment. At least she got to commentate on her team winning. Yeah, who very rarely gets to talk about, say, a moment like that. There you go. What a dramatic. And Shawnee says the Absolute Women's Pens podcast. Yeah. We'll see if that ever happens again. So that is Chelsea, Manchester City, and Aston Villa through to the semi-finals today. So that does bring us to the end. We've had a surprise penalty shootout at the end of the podcast, but it does bring us to the end of all our football action. We've covered everything today: Conti Cup, Champions League, Super League, Championship, and I couldn't have done it all without the super team that we have here. And of course, we have a fantastic team, which we'll take you to in a minute with all the socials. But do get behind these guys and all the stuff that they're doing. It's we've really enjoyed this, and it's been real success us starting this women's podcast, and we hope to be bringing you so much more of it in the future. So do get behind the team and find out where they are, where can you follow them, where you can support them, because they're all fantastic. Rebecca, where can everybody find and follow you?
You can find me on Twitter and TikTok doing a bit of F1 and football. And that can be found in the little app here. It's got too many underscores. I'll be here all day if I read it.
There you go. For you audio goes, it is @Rebecca _short_. I think you can look at that. I've got the underscores down. Happy days. And of course, yes, do follow Rebecca. And of course, Freya, where can everybody find you for more penalty reaction?
Yeah, for everything Villa, Sunderland, Barcelona, everything in between. Me and Lindsay are at the whole 115 yards, and we're that handle across all socials. So come and give us a shout. And we've also got our podcast as well, so give that a listen. And we may have a website launching very, very soon. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for updates on that.
Very exciting. Do get behind that as well. And of course, Danny, where can everybody find and follow you?
I've just noticed Rebecca's jumper actually as well. I do want to shout out before we go her game too. That first partnership with the French professional club, incredible news for them this week. Fighting the good fight still, and such an amazing journey they've been on. So really, really good to see that. So I just want to shout out before I go as well. Follow me. At Cobblers to Me, if you want to follow our podcast all about Northampton Town's men and women's travails. I'm at Danny Brothers, I think, on the X, and if you want to follow me personally, but yeah, you'll find me through the podcast as well, if you want to.
Excellent, fantastic. And so I am Sam. I'm at Up the FM Ducks. That's my handle, mostly on Twitter. Well, I now Twitter, TikTok. They're the main two I'm doing stuff on, but most of the time you can find me on the Absolute Football Podcast. Usually on a Monday show or behind the scenes doing some stuff for one of the other shows, or on here on a Wednesday as well. I can be anywhere. I can pop up anywhere. It can happen. And I want to shout out as well. So Nick from our Lower League podcast as well wanted to sort of just give a little shout out as well, because he is part of the Falls Rush In podcast, which is a Swindon podcast mostly, but they do cover Swindon Town FC and Royal Wootton Bassett women's team, who between them scored 21 goals between them last weekend, which is absolutely insane. With Swindon Town scoring 15 and Royal Wootton Bassett scoring 6. So that's not bad to say that the teams that you cover scored 21. So that's a podcast in its own, probably, to cover those two matches and all those goals. So big shout out to Nick and the Falls Rush In podcast as well. And of course, where can you follow the podcast? And we've got our new, look at all of those lovely smiling cartoon faces. If you're listening on audio, you can check us out on YouTube as well, where this is where we have our cartoon graphics of all the team, which have been done by our podcast illustrator. Josh's lovely wife has done some fantastic pictures of everybody, and it's great to show everybody on there. We do have Danny's coming. Danny is being added. There is one or two more that we have to.
I'm already on there
as well. Oh no, sorry, other Dan. Burnley Dan. Yeah, there we go. We've got too many people with the same name. It's one of you will have to change it. Who wants to be a Pete? We'll have a Pete. We are the Absolute Football Podcast on what is that? It's Twitter. It's not X. Don't be silly. Absolute Ball Pod on Twitter, on YouTube, Absolute Football Podcast, on Twitch, we're Absolute Football Podcast as well. On TikTok, Absolute Football Pod. On Instagram and Threads, possibly Absolute Football Podcast _, and on Facebook, the Absolute Football Podcast. We are Mondays with the Premier League and European show, Wednesdays with WSL and Women's Championship, and on Thursdays, which includes tomorrow, Charlotte is back with the Royal Rabble. The lovely lot is back on Thursday to talk about Lower League, EFL and National League, and a bit of FA Cup action as well tomorrow. It's always at 8:30, Monday, Wednesdays and Thursdays. So yes, do join us if you can. And thanks to everybody in the chat who's joined us. Fantastic and brilliant. Charlotte, great show, everybody. Thank you, Charlotte. Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. Very nice. She's giving me a shout out for my hosting. Thank you very much. Graham, thank you for joining us as well. We thoroughly enjoyed it. He also gives his brilliance to her game too. Shawnee says, Danny could be Hulk Hogan's brother. Well, there you go.
That's not a place I want to be in any point in time, to be honest. That's very, very dodgy territory. I'm not going there.
Absolutely. We'll leave that one aside. Thank you to Paul. Thank you to Smith and Chris. Thank you to Simon. Everybody, I don't want to miss anybody, but thanks to everybody for joining us. It really does mean everything to us that you join us. Do like and subscribe to the podcast. We'll keep going and be bringing you stuff. And join us tomorrow at Thursday. We will catch you on the next one. Take care and see you soon.